Welcome to Morning Message for July the 16th. I heard the other day that there was a newspaper in Australia that had to print a retraction from a story they had printed the day before. They apologized that the headline that there were 30,000 pigs dumped into a river should have read there were 30 sows and pigs. That's the kind of story I really like, although I doubt it's true. I do like those kinds of puns, and I thought I'd share that with you today. That joke has nothing to do with the morning message today. In the last morning message, I spoke about God's love and how that love is at the very grounding of creation. It is at the core of every living thing. Human beings have been blessed, I guess, with the ability to think about love and to think about what that means and how that affects us and motivates us. And perhaps other creatures don't have the same luxury. When I was growing up, I had the great joy on many weekends of taking little day trips with my dad. We were both photographers, we both had cameras, and we liked to take pictures. And we go on little journeys around Dartmouth. I mean, sometimes we might end up as far south as Peggy's Cove, sometimes as far east as Martinique Beach, and all the places in between. One of our favorite places was, of course, the fishing village out at Eastern Passage. But inevitably, in Dartmouth, we would often end up at Sullivan's Pond, a duck pond, smack dab in the middle of Dartmouth. And one day we were there on the edge of the pond, and we saw this duck struggling frantically in the water, and for quite some time. It kept diving into the water and flapping its wings and doing something. It was very peculiar behavior as far as we were concerned, watching this duck just kind of seemingly needlessly struggling and flapping around in the way that it had. We watched this for maybe 30 or 40 seconds, neither one of us even thinking to pull our camera out and take a picture of what was going on. And eventually, up out of the water comes the duck and another duck. This duck that had been struggling and flapping around was really just trying to release this other duck from having its head or part of its body stuck under a rock or some other thing underneath the water that we couldn't see. That's what I mean when I say that God's love is at the very core of the being of creation. And we see this in all sorts of creatures. And I know that, some scientists would tell us not to attribute human emotions and thoughts and feelings to animals, and I basically agree with that. However, you just see it too often. Even last night on PBS, there was a show about their spy cams, which allowed the folks of Nova to get intimate views of all sorts of different kinds of animals. Some animals that we might have thought of as just being ferocious showed a tremendous amount of care and playfulness and perhaps even love. That there's something at the core of creation that motivates all of creation towards that caring and loving thing. So I would say that even in creation, we see God's love manifested in so many ways. And that's what I celebrate. That's what I think is wonderful. And even having birds fly really closely right now, either telling me I'm really right or really wrong, I'm not sure. I think the goal of the spiritual journey is to find ways to recognize God's love that abounds in the world around us. Not to be oblivious to it, but to look for it, and when we look for it, we will find it. Seek, and ye shall find. God bless. Amen.